Hello, everybody. I've got what I want to do today is to go over stuff you might need to watch, and we might as well get started. The first thing I want to do is to put down a list of things that, let's see what happened. Okay, I have too much stuff here. See, our seagull. Okay. Hey, Abdul. Hi, John. How you doing? I'm trying to put a list of things up here that we may need. Um, let me see. Covered compartment. Devices. Copy. Okay. Um, Now I can get started. Let me check. Yeah, everything is fine with me. I'm out in the sticks out here. We're pretty relatively safe. Um, how about everybody else? Hey, I was reading today. I heard it on the news. One of the two that England had a upkick. Great Britain had an upkick in uh, COVID-19 cases. So hope everybody over there is good and keeping your distance. Hi, Clyde. I understand that Oklahoma has the governor has put up people from New York and New Orleans and Washington have to go through some kind of what, a 29-day or 30-day um, quarantine if they come into Oklahoma. And so I don't know. Uh, let's see. We have 6 infected in my town. Everyone with masks and gloves now. Yeah. Um, Hi, Stefan. All fine here. We get masks for supermarket visits on from Wednesdays on. No, we always make non-inbreeds do that. Germany has over 60,000 patients now. Wow. Hi, Alex. Um, what are your thoughts on Cartier Tank Sentry? Generally on Cartier tanks, I like them, but I'm not sure about the Cartier Tank Sentry. Um, that's the Cartier has uh, they basically have two levels. One, a mystery meat movement, which is an ETA or something like that, or they have a Cartier movement. And the ones with Cartier movements are nice, really nice watches. There's one, the mono push or something like that, that has a THA movement, which is really cool. I've got some full face masks, not for CC, but for he got some full face masks for Archie. Okay. um, all right, guys. So let's see, movement and sound and everything is okay. You guys can hear me all right. Okay, you talk to Stefan. All right, let's uh, let's get started here because I was hoping that what we can do, what I did, you can probably see it up at the top up there on your on the chat, the text chat over there. I have all of the parts that are recommended for getting started on making your own watch from the time zone school. And let me the I did make a change. I made one change, and they had recommended some an ETA something or other, a smaller one, and I had gotten, and they don't even sell that anymore. They sell you a Salida instead, which they say is actually better than the original. Who knows? Um, so I modified it to have a ETA 6497 or 6498 or a Siegel's 36XX. I think it's a 3600 or something 36 on a Siegel, but they're easy to find if you want to get one. Um, the other things that are included in the list, I have most of them here. So your first thing then would be a your movement, okay? And now your movement, when you get a movement, it's going to come with a long stem like that. And the reason it comes with a long stem, so it can fit a number of different size watches. The 64, 97, 98 size is a pretty big one because it was originally from stop a pocket watch. So anyway, here we've got the that's what you're going to get when you get a movement. Now, some of the other things they have is that you need a movement holder, and this thing right here is a movement holder, and it's just basically a little vise that you screw in to hold the movement in with. In the courses they have that the Horological Society of New York had, they have these cylinder shaped metal ones that really fit exactly, and so you have to get a holder that matches the caliber of the movement you're using, and these are the very professional ones. The not so professional ones are ones like this. The other ones are really good. These you have to be a little dexterous with. Anyway, so those are the first things. The one they suggest is a Bergeon number 4040. That was the one I just showed you. You need a dust blower. This is a dust blower. You can either use one of these or one of these, but you don't want to get coronavirus on your watch. So anyway, use one of these. And one of the things, one a handy tip that somebody had, it says get a cup to hold it in because when you put it down, it rolls all over the place, and you just drop it in a cup when you're not using it, and it's a lot easier. Okay, you need a screwdriver set with 9 sizes from 0.5 to 2.6. What I'm suggesting, what I do with it, have I lost it already? Ah, here it is. What you need is a red neck screwdriver or a red cap. Okay, the red one seems to be the most versatile, at least what I found. And I think that for putting a watch together, uh, you don't have to do a lot. Two things you need a screwdriver for. One is for tightening the leg screws to keep the dial on, and the other one is to screw and unscrew the screw that holds in the stem and the crown. Otherwise, you really don't need one. Now, for taking apart a movement, that's a whole different story. And so, what this will do, though, is give you a nice little kit to get started with. You need, they suggest two tweezers, number 5 and number 2. The higher the number, the shorter the tweezers. These are two tweezers right here. That the This one is a 2 and this one is a 5, and you can tell the difference in the size on them. And they come with these little tips so you don't poke yourself, but don't plan on ever finishing a watch without poking yourself with the tweezers at least once. You need a 4x and a 10x loop. Um, this is, I think it is a 4x. And this is a 10X. I rarely use a 10X, but I use the 4X a lot. This particular one is it's got this little rubber thing on it, and they're really comfortable. I like these. These are good too, but the ones, if you wear glasses, the ones that are recommended for this course happen to be ones they sell, of course. Uh, is called the Optivisor, and they're not very good. They go on your glasses, and I don't know. Some people may like them, and they're not too expensive. What I prefer is a good one. I mean, a really good one. Now, these cost about $100, and so they're not cheap. And when you look what you get for $100, you may wonder if it's really worth it or not. To me, it is because it holds. First of all, it's a very good loop, and second of all, it really holds on there well. I don't know. These things are like they're not a quick release thing that you can change loops on it. If you're using this is probably, I think, probably my guess is, I think it's probably a 4X loop that comes with this, but it's like just about everything you need it for. The I'd get a 10X loop too because there's certain little bitty things you might want to take a look at. I use when I use a 10X loop, I'm usually not working with the tools when I'm using it, but rather sort of looking at something, and then I'll put in or trying to find something or put in another one. Okay, what else do they need here? This is this list here that I put up there for you if you want to copy and paste it. I had to do it in several ones. Um, the next thing is pithwood buttons. Oh, pegwood bundle and pithwood. Oh yeah, yeah, this is weird. Um, I don't know where my pithworth button is. I got one. Um, Pegwood sticks. You get a bundle of these things. These are great because you can. They're long, so you can keep social distance from destroying your watch. This is good for poking stuff, and without breaking it. And it's wood, so it's non-magnetic. If you want to mess around with a regulator, I recommend a very. This is from a special section of your grocery store. It's a wooden one. These things too. These are. Let's see. This is called Rodico cleaning putty, and this stuff you you sort of roll it on, and it'll take some crud off. Uh, there are all kinds of other uses for this putty. S if sometimes you'll find a screw just doesn't wanna go in, and what I found, if you take a piece of this putty, put it on the end of a, pegwood stick, and sort of use it as like you'd use tweezers, and so you got this thing on one hand, and you're putting the the screw in the hole, if you can find it, and you got your eyepiece on, and you put it in there, and you got it get it with a screwdriver. I mean, there's not a lot that you'll be doing when we put this watch together, you'll see, but, if you start taking it apart, this stuff is something it's really great. It's called Rodico putty. Um, let's see what else they have here. The pithwood button. I don't know where mine is. Just really Uh, Pithwood button, really funny thing. It looks like uh, a a big weed, a dried out weed that somebody took a cross section of. And what you do with it, with the pithwood button, is that you stick the screwdrivers in it or the tweezers in it to clean them off. And so if you're working on something, you hit it with that and then go back to it. Mine is really well used. I'm see if I can find one out in the yard or something. These are finger cots, and the finger cots, I really would recommend them. You put them in your offhand if you're right-handed, like most people. You put them on your these are the three fingers. I don't have mine on very well. Um, you put them on these three fingers, and like I said, this is how a right-hander would use it. And then for your offhand, like you'd you'd hold whatever you're working on with your offhand by the vise or something, and then you where you have to touch the movement and so forth. You do it with this, and with this works a lot better than gloves, I think. So anyway, they're called finger cots. Okay, um, so there is a those are the basic starting to tools that you need. And what I thought, what we'd do, would simply sort of unravel what we had done uh, up to now, and that is to take the movement apart. And now we simply reverse that and put it back together again. So before I go on, let me see what you guys have going. Uh, okay. Let's see, Abdul. Uh, okay, Mark, you got to get up earlier. Or we, I, I, why? I, you know, um, this having retirement, being retired, I got a lot more flexible schedule than before I retired. So and even then I had somewhat more flexibility, but um, man, this is a lot of stuff. Hey, Fahrenheit. Um, if you cut the fingering just above over the nail, you have a form of a climate control. A watchmaker told me. Oh yeah, yeah, that's a good idea. What Stefan said. You have if you just cut a little hole on the top, um, what'll happen is that then because your fingers get real sweaty inside of these finger cots, and so that's a good idea. Just cut a little hole there, and if you're working with these guys, work with them for several hours. Man, I tell you, the kind of concentration that it requires to do it right, that just wears me out. So I can do it for like maybe an hour. If it's a really tight thing, the hardest thing for me is there are two things. One is putting on a second hand, and the other is cutting the stem. This thing right here, cutting the stem is you unscrew it, you take the stem out, and then you take the crown off. You just hold it. This is where the that hand vise I was showing you the other day comes in handy. And then you take your get some really good ones, and you got to be real careful and do a little at a time, and you'll do it. Now, there's some other things that you also need, and of course, beside the movement, you need a case, and the cases are all over the map. If you go to some place like AliExpress, I've used that a lot with real good results. They have all kinds, and if you put in like an ETA 6498 or an ETA 6497, they'll come up with the Chinese version of it, with the Siegel version or some other one, and they have the prices are all over the map, and so you can get different kinds. Some people don't like the bronze or the brass ones. I do. I had they're sort of they remind me of like those naval clocks you have. They're bronze or brass. Anyway, and then you'll need some straps. Uh, there's so many different places. If you you can get one uh, bespoke, one made for you. There's a guy, you may have seen him, Daniel Cheek. He did one for me. He's in Tennessee, and he does good work. Um, and so if you want, like I said, a bespoke one. Uh, let's see what else. Oh yeah, these I've already mentioned this. This is your tool for your spring bar tool. Yeah, you really need one of these, and get a good one. I tend to use it a lot. The other thing that they don't recommend that I found super useful, and again, I've mentioned this before too, and this is a hand setter. And um, what you do is that you have to push the um, hour hand over a bigger um, stem, and so you need a bigger hole, and then it sort of goes around it like that. And then for the second the minute hand that goes on top, you need a smaller one. And so here for the hour hand, and then for the minute hand, or it's the other way around. But these things are really. I mean, you say, well, you know, set how often do you set the hands? You don't set them too often, and you can use your tweezers. And I've done that before, and it works perfectly well. But believe me, a hand setter works a lot better. What you do with your tweezers, you simply put them. You put the hand on top of the shaft, and then you put the this on either side of the hand, and just push it down. And if everything goes right, it'll be a very easy operation. Hi, Crappy. How's it going? Um, Tweezer control is something to master. No kidding. Yeah. Uh, all of these skills are, and uh, you're working on something that's really fine, and it doesn't work, and doesn't work, and doesn't work. Whew. Hi, Abase. How you doing? Um, so there's all kinds of neat stuff that you can do with that. I spent almost the whole Sunday looking for my toolbox. Would your wife hide it? As my wife cleaned the whole house in the past week, I still didn't find it. I hope it's not a garbage can. Man, I tell you, I've got uh, it. Look, these things are not expensive. It's like this is like a little desktop workbench worth its weight in gold. Really nice thing to have. And it's like 89 bucks from Auto Fry, and they ship it to you. Big old box comes with your workbench, and it's really fantastic. The other thing is you can see this sort of greenish mat here. It's an anti-magnetic one, and it's I don't know what they call it. It's just like a mat you put down, and you can all of the Watt supply places have them. So you that's another thing to have. Hi, Carlos. Um, and don't let your wife hide your workbench or your work box. The other thing is about uh, hey, hey, Joas, Joas. Is that how you pronounce it, Joas? Um, the man getting everything it's pretty important, but the basic things you need really are the red screwdriver. I'm not sure what the actual size is, and there are some differences, but if you get you know go to Bergson or one of those places and get a good red screwdriver, and you'll be set for a long time. Oh, good. I said your name right. Thanks. Okay. uh, you guys are lucky. My wife makes me clean up my own office, so that's uh, yeah. It really makes life easier because they have all of these little drawers, and I took the time at the outset to organize it. And if it's organized, man, I tell you, it's so much easier to find stuff. And even if I lose something in the drawer, I know at least I know what drawer to look for it in. And it's sort of a fun thing to do. Like I said, we're sort of stuffed right now with this the whole thing with the quarantine, but so this is something to do. Any other ideas you guys have? No, you're not alone. It's just what you guys, my wife makes me go out and clean up. How come you haven't cleaned up my desk is needs cleaning up too. Um, my name is Mr. Ibrahim. Oh, okay. I'm a dealer in old vintage watches and vintage watch parts. Well, Mr. Ibrahim, nice to meet you. Um, I'm just old vintage and not a watch dealer. What is the purpose of the different colors of Rodico? I didn't know it came in different colors. I thought it was all green. There, maybe somebody else knows, but it's essentially, man, it's like a tool. That's the only thing I can say. They in the list that the Time Zone Watch School has for the number one kit, what you need. They talk about it as for cleaning. And if you get a little dirt or something like that, a little dust or something, and you don't want it to go into the works of the movement, you can just roll some of that on, and that'll take it off. You can also, I suppose, they use that little thing that you poke your tools in. It's around somewhere here. I probably need a new one. Um, okay, used to file to alter my screwdrivers. It's just not ideal. So I ordered a few items from Eisner. That's a good idea. That's a good place to order them from. I don't know when I'll receive the package though. Yeah, this is a thing these days. I got a package. I got a notice that a package I had was coming, and I order stuff and forget what I've ordered, and then it shows up as, "Oh boy, it's here." I did order a couple of, movements, that were identical, so I'm gonna try to make my, resonance gizmo and see if I can bring them close together and see if they can affect resonance. Is that, once I played around with that, then I have 2 movements I can play with. Hey, Panos, how you doing? How are things in Greece these days? I haven't heard much from Greece as far as quarantines and things. Are you guys doing okay? Yeah, Carla, so before you go to town on your Patek Philippe, I might suggest something else. Oh, anyway, well, listen, our time is just about up. Anything that you need to know or do before we wrap it up for now? I'll be covering a lot of the same things this afternoon. There are some good deals right now. You know, somebody pointed something out. It was really a good insight. Forgot who it was, but they said that a lot more on Chrono 24 is that the make offer things. A lot they said a lot now they're sort of before you poke them and they say this dealer doesn't negotiate, essentially what they're saying. Now a lot more of them have sort of activated that little bar, and so people can negotiate. A lot of people who sell stuff, they don't like to negotiate at all. Well, who does? I mean, that's just like extra work, but it's a reality. I mean, if I had a watch to sell, I really needed money, then I would negotiate. If I didn't, then I'd charge a premium or something like that. I don't know. Uh, Batman is getting more affordable in Indonesia. Batman. What's Batman? Um, yes, we are basically staying at home. Okay, you're Panos. Yeah, this is yeah. This is what we're having this series for. Is that watch collectors in quarantine? We're figuring out ways things we can do, and all I'm doing is suggesting ways to get into trouble by making your own watch. Uh, it sinks down quite a bit. Batman. Oh, it's a Rolex GMT. Okay. Well, Eddie, how you doing? I'm FaceTiming into my class, but now I have you in the background. I'll be the class clown in the background of your course. Mess up Eddie's course. That's not a very nice thing to do. Well, listen, guys, like I said, I got to run, and good luck in the course, Eddie and Carlos. See, let's see. Carlos is going to have the last word today. As I can imagine, the face at the service center going there with all the parts in a bag, telling I was following a YouTube channel. No, I tell you what, if you run into problems with anything I've said, just forget where you heard it. Okay. Okay, guys. Um, until tomorrow or this afternoon, take care.